What's up? What's up? What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children across the world? What it do? What it do? What it do? It's your boy A to the LLEN Simmons. I just made that up. That was dope. That was awesome. That was amazing. I'm so dope. I'm just one. But yeah, so this is another episode of the Purpose Pod, driving you forward with power and faith. I'm your host, Alan Levi Simmons, and today is a different day. Today is a real different day, folks, out there in the world. Today is going to be a little different because I am going to allow other guests to come on. I'm sorry I'm late. I had to, hold on, I got to, on a podcast, in a podcast. I can edit this later, but call you back. But so yeah, today is going to be a great day because I am interviewing everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. So if you have a voice or you want to speak up about what's going on or how you feel, I really want to know how you feel. I don't want people to complain. I don't want people to when I say complain, don't take it as like I don't want you to voice your opinion, but I don't want you to blame cops. I don't want you to blame anyone. I want to hear your thoughts on what you believe should happen, in our country, or even, how is this affecting your life as a person of color or someone else? Like, how is this infecting or impacting your life? I'm trying to find this the link for the Purpose Pod on here. Hold on, the Purpose Pod. Bang, bang. So this is giving me a hard time. But yes, if you're on here, welcome, 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 everybody. Thank you for joining the Purpose Pod. I am excited to see you all here today. Today is Tuesday, and we usually go Tuesday at 7 o'clock. So, man, I just got a notification. I'm over here looking for my own podcast because sometimes Facebook won't allow you to see or won't allow those who comment on StreamYard to be on my screen so I can see your comments. So please bear with me 1 second. I am looking for it. I don't think I made it. Hold on a second. View on Facebook. Copy link address. Sorry, guys. As we are waiting, please bear with me. Please bear with me. I know, Alan, you should have did this earlier. What is wrong with you? I was just on a call with some great people, plus Bakari Sellers, and I'm going to show you guys his book in a little bit. Just give me a second. I'm sending myself my Facebook link so that I can watch it on Facebook. Bam, bam, bam. Thank you, ma'am. So it's been an awesome day. And also, I spoke earlier on Facebook Live about, my thoughts, my feelings, and how I feel about, what's going on, how I feel about police brutality, how I feel about people killing people. All in all, I just, I'm upset, and just like a lot of us, we're upset because we don't see anything good coming from, the people who have all this hate in their heart, people who are hateful. You can see it now. People are just so hateful and bitter. And so, yeah, I'm just stalling right now so I can post this. Bang, join me on StreamYard. So, yeah, if you guys are on here right now, what's up, what's up, what's up? Drop a hello so I know you're here. I don't know who's here right now because, like I said, I'm trying to get this link on my, oh, what up, Jade? She said, come on, Purpose Pod. That's my girl. What up, girl? That's my girl. That's my homie right there. So that's my dog right there. Jade, what up? You want to get on here? I'm about to send you this link. Hey, look, Kia. Hey, I can use your government name. Hey, Key. Hey, come on up here, cuz. Come on up here, cuz. What it do with you? How you doing? I want to talk to Kia. Let me see if I can put this in there. Can you click that link? Let's test something real quick. Are you able to click that link, Kiana? I'm sorry, Jade. I'm so sorry. Dang. This is not the link that I wanted. Okay, bam. View on Facebook. Continue to Facebook. Bam, there it goes. Oh, there it goes. You got it? Are you able to get on there? Open on Facebook. This is so crazy. I'm so slacking right now. I thought this was going to work. Don't show this again. Bam. Oh Lord, I love you too, girl. You my homie, man. I appreciate your life. Y'all, oh my God. I wish you could get on here. Let's talk. Jade, get on here. Can you get on here? Can you click that link? Let me see. I'm about to invite instructions for my yeah, click on that link. Can you click on that link? I know you're probably not even ready to get on here, but get on there. Nah, it's not working, but I'm on my phone driving. Oh, you're in the Eric. That's what it said. Anyway, it's okay. It's cool because I'm gonna get it. So, oh, you're in the sticks. So check this book right here. Let me change my microphone. Ugh. Bam. So this book right here, Bakari Sellers. Oh my God. I just got off a Zoom call with the author of this book, Bakari Sellers, politician, lawyer. His father, Mr. Cleveland Sellers, is very known in the civil rights movement, in the whole movement. And you know, there's a lot of information in here about the South. You know, Orangeburg, especially. You know, South Carolina State, and you know, so there's a whole lot of information in my vanishing country, and I'm going to shout him out. Bakari Sellers. This book is definitely dope. What up, David? What it do? What it do? What it do? What it do? So I'm going to go ahead and jump on to the topic of today, which is purpose. And this is the Purpose Pod. So where else could you go to talk about purpose? Oh, the Purpose Pod. So the Purpose Pod, and I don't think that this is even on Facebook for some reason. So I really got to find out where my Facebook people are, because I don't know where they are. This is so sad. It's so sad. Hopefully, if y'all are on Facebook, please let me know that Facebook is working, please. Oh, there we go. Tara, thank you so much. All right, cool. So I want, like I offer people, if you want to come on and talk about purpose, or, you know, how you're feeling right now and about the current state of our country and the world, you could talk about that. We don't have to talk about that. We could talk about you know, your purpose. And if you have questions about purpose, please, today is going to be the only day that you're allowed to do this. So if you have questions about purpose, about where your journey is going, or, you know, what to do, what should be your next move, or you have a business that you want to start, and you don't know what to do next, you know, this is the perfect time. If you have a book you're writing, you don't know what to do next, like, let's talk about it. We're talking about purpose. If you want to go back to college and you're struggling because you're a little older now and you don't know the ins and out of the school system, or how to apply to a college, or whatever it is, or you don't know what major you want to major in, you know, what field you want to study in. So if that's you, you know, reach out right now and say something. If you're desiring to know more about purpose and you have questions, please let me know. So I'll go ahead and talk. So my name is Alan Levi Simmons. I'm from Summerville, South Carolina. I always say I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, but people don't like that. People from Charleston say, well, you don't talk Geechee, so you can't say you're not. You can't say you're from Charleston. You sound like you're from Summerville. So yes, I am from Summerville, South Carolina, born in Charleston, South Carolina. I was raised in Summerville, lived in Charleston half of my life. So that's a little about me. Oh, she loved the Purpose Pod. Thank you so much. So much. But yeah, so from South Carolina, and you know, growing up, I was always this like bubbly guy. You know, I'm always talking to people. Jade can tell y'all I talk to everybody. She knows all day I talk to everybody. I talk to anybody. And half the time she don't like me talking to her, but I talk to her anyway. So, you know, I'm that kind of person, and I believe that while we're on a pursuit of our purpose, we have to learn who we are first. So let's write that down. Learn who we are. So while pursuing your purpose, you have to know who you are. What's that identity? Bakari Sellers actually just said something earlier. I don't know if I'm allowed to quote him on this, but he said that it's not the young adults, or it's not the young people's job to find their identity. It's our job as mentors and older people to help them find their identity, you know. And when you're African American, male, female, or white, Caucasian, Asian, Hispanic, male, female, you know, you grow up in a system, and I'm calling that system like family, right? You grow up in a system called family, and that system could either make you or break you, right? They could either inspire you, or I was trying to find a word that rhymes so it could all flow, but it doesn't. So they could either inspire you or fire you. There it goes. No, but they could either inspire you or, you know, tear you down. They could build you up or tear you down. And, you know, a lot of times in our in our day-to-day lives, when we're around our family, the structure of the family, we get certain traits. So we get the yelling, if you get into arguments and you yell, or you get aggravated easily, or you're quiet because you were abused, or whatever your situation was. Everyone has these families they're born into, and they're trying to become. So be aware of who you are in your family too. Don't go out trying to be someone in your family that you're, don't be in the streets trying to be someone else that you're not with your family. If you're going to be saved and sanctified with your family, be saved and sanctified in the streets. What I mean? Vice versa, and I'm saying that because, like, for me, I was struggling trying to figure out who I was. I was like, oh, people tell me I should be a pastor. People tell me I should do this, and yet I'm smoking and drinking and doing all this stuff. So, like, who am I? And I was battling and wrestling. So I understand what Bakari is saying, because when it comes to seeking or searching for your identity and who you are, you'll find yourself in different spaces and places around different people. You may find yourself at the bar drinking your life away because you're depressed because of a breakup. You may find yourself smoking 700 blunts because you're trying to get high to the ultimate place so that you can escape whatever it is you're going through. Whatever your thing is, you may be at the gym all the time. You may be doing all this other stuff. Those things can create your identity. They play a part in your identity. So, people will always say, oh, you used to be an alcoholic, so that's who you are. No, those things are not who you are. They help shape who you are, but they are not who you are. Okay. Cool. I just wanted to drop that real quick. So let's see here. David, my man, David, he says, how can we start a movement that will help young African-American men strive for greatness? I love that question right there. You know why? Because we kind of just talked about that with Bakari Sellers. And, I think that's a really good question, David. How can we start a movement that will help young African-American men strive for greatness? I think the number one thing to start a movement is the foundation, right, David? So I think that, and that's why I haven't been so quick to jump on stuff. Like, I do my own little stuff on the side. I think that's the number one thing, like Bakari was saying, is like, you have to do what you can do, right? So for these young men, it may not be protesting, it may not be marching, it may be sitting them down and getting them in the history books, getting them to learn their history, getting them to learn the laws, the constitutional rights and stuff like that. I believe that our way of helping young African-American men strive for greatness is to show them their past, and to show them their present, and to show them their future. Like, this is who you can be, because we, as African-American men, are descendants of men who built this country, and men and women who built this country. So we have to show those youth, who they are, where they come from, and what laws that they have to abide by in this country, and also what laws, like the quote unquote laws that may be given to them that are not laws. So yeah, just teaching them, I believe, in order to really get this movement for young African American men to thrive in this country, we have to teach them about their past and who they are and where they come from first, before we push them on to other things. Because if you don't know who you are and where you come from, and I tell you to go out there and protest for black rights just because you know that people are being killed out here by cops, and people are being hung on trees and stuff like that, and saying it's suicide, whatnot. But we can't go out there and tell them to fight this great fight, this war, without sending them to boot camp. And boot camp is the educational part. And in boot camp, like for Marine Corps, there was a whole lot of education in boot camp. We were sleeping in the classroom because we were getting taught so much of history about the Marine Corps. So I believe that African Americans and others, people from different backgrounds, need to dive into history, to dive into the history of the United States of America, and to dive into the history of African Americans in America, so that people can understand. If you don't see it, you can't understand it. I never understood Japanese people until I learned Japanese. So in order to communicate with the people, you have to learn their language. You have to speak their language. So the young people, they're speaking languages of technology. So how can we engage with our youth through technology, through apps, through other things? Like, what is it that we can do? So David, my challenge for you would be, what is it that you could do? Like, so athletes, and you're good with athletes, right? So I think that putting something together, a youth camp or something like that together, and a small it could be like 20 kids. I think it shouldn't be anything big. I think to be able to like focus on people, even if it's 10 kids, you got 5-on-5 basketball, 5-on-5 touch, two-hand touch type rules. You have those things together because men, we love sports, so these young men coming together with sports, and and you're like, hey guys, so in order to be a part of this group, you have to XYZ. You have to read this book. We're going to read this book. You could read Bakari Sellers' book. You could read My Vanishing Country. Like, I'm over here in my mic, but this book right here, man, like, God, I haven't even finished it yet, and I'm just like, I'm just so. See, I hope that helps. I have Zoom. I have a Zoom, but I'm definitely going to watch you. Oh, thank you so much, Cherry. I appreciate you, Tara. I appreciate you, girl. Appreciate you, girl. But yeah, so like, right now is the perfect time to find out what you already can do. So like what you're good at right now. What can you do right now in order to help make this movement possible? Because the powers that be, want people to believe that Black people are just angry, upset, and they're ready to burn the town down. You got protesters, and then you got people who are out there looting, right? So you got the protesters, and then you have the looters, and then we're all seen as one whole because we're Black. And that's what happens with Black people. You get put in a whole bunch. Like you got, we could be out here hanging out, but the moment, someone does something, we're seen as a whole, and it happens. I don't know. It just happens, So I think it's important that we educate ourselves on African American history in America. And it's not just Black people that need to be aware of the history in America. It is white people, Asian people, Hispanic people, all people need to know about Black history in America because Blacks built this country. And that's the truth. So, and I would love someone to argue the truth with me because this is the truth. This country was built on the backs of Blacks. And you know what? We've come a long way as a culture and as a people that I'm not going to blame somebody for the, slavery. I'm not going to look at my white brother and say, look, it's your fault that it's this way. No, it's not your fault. You may be reaping from the benefits of the oppression of Black people, but it's not your fault. You see what I'm saying? So like, it's not your fault that slavery happened, but you are benefiting from slavery. You are benefiting from the civil rights movement. You are benefiting because Blacks were not able to buy homes when whites were able to buy homes. You're benefiting because Blacks weren't able to learn when whites were learning. You're benefiting because Blacks were not able to work when whites were working. So like, that's what the oppression, like when you can't get a job because of the color of your skin, or because you got a little weed on you, now you get locked up for 50 years versus like it's just it's those things that's not fair. It's not fair at all. And I feel like a child on the playground. It's not fair. They took my crowns, right? Thanks, David. But it's not fair. It's not fair. And I believe that life isn't fair. So nothing is ever going to be just fair, like where everybody has it all good. And I don't know. I would love to see that. And I'm not sure if it's going to be in my lifetime, but I wish and I pray, I hope for better days to come, just like the great leaders in the past. And just reading Bakari Sellers' book, he talks about how it's not just Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King. And, it's not just them. There were thousands and hundreds of other people who marched alongside them, who stood in the gap for other people who did not speak up. So just know that your input in this fight is valuable. Your words in this fight is valuable because it is a fight. So don't come in, don't live in America and think that there's not a fight happening right now. And I know we're all seeking our purpose. We're all trying to go back to our jobs and get that money. We're all trying to save up money because we're dying. We're all trying to do all of that stuff, and we're trying to get all our tangible things together and so that we can hold them and say, oh, I did this. I made this shirt. I started this podcast. I wrote this book, whatever it is. Like we all want those tangible things, but those things don't matter. You know what matters? Yeah, I was about to say Black Lives Matter, but I was just like, no, that's great. But all lives matter, and that is why Black Lives Matter. Okay, so all lives matter is why Black Lives Matter, because if we say that as a whole, all lives matter. All creatures on earth matter, right? So we say all lives matter. And if you see that something is not being taken care of, or some people are not being taken care of, or they're being taken care of the wrong way, then you say, hey, all lives isn't mattering right now, so, or it doesn't seem like it matters right now. So what, who is struggling? We got Hispanic struggling, Asian struggling, white struggling, black struggling. But we're saying that throughout all of these years, there's been a consistent foot on the necks of black people, and that foot has been white. That foot has been white in America. So there have been Muslims who have uh, taken Africans back in the day. There were slaves back then. So Africans had slaves, of course. So people always throw out all the other facts. They're like, well, blacks had, blacks sold all that other stuff. Okay, cool. The problem is, that it has continued. The cruelty has continued. People are still being called the N-word. Yo, they say it in the songs. Yeah, that what your mama say, if your friends jump off a bridge, are you going to jump off too? No, you're not, right? So why can't we say the N-word? Well, because hundreds of years of oppression are behind that N-word. And somehow, some way, we black folks have taken that N-word and made it slang. And yes, it's not good to keep saying those N-words. And I say it sometimes. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, man, oh man, I didn't mean to say that. I've been saying it my whole life. I don't know. So I just have to be real. Just keeping it real. Hey, I'm trying to roll, baby. I'm trying to roll Deshay. Deshay over here. Oh man, Deshay. Can you click? Let me see. I'm gonna try to invite you again. Let me see. Oh, maybe I could do it this way. Oh, maybe no, I gotta log in. Dang. I want to get somebody on here to talk about what's going down. He said out. You're terrible. Can you click on that link and let me know what happens? But I mean, if you can. So oh yeah, I was about to read that. This generation was not the first to say Black Lives Matter. It's said for generations. Exactly. Oh my God, I love the fact that you said that, Deshay, because Black Lives Matter has been said for years. I mean, I think even if it wasn't like Black Lives Matter, it was like, yo, are you really gonna leave these millions of Africans in the water in the Atlantic? Are you really going to take these people and chain them up and shove them in a ship underneath? They did that. So are you really going to take these children and separate them from their family? They did that. So oh my God, like just me thinking about that right now, and I'm not angry. Just me thinking about that right now, it upsets me, because if you look at what happened in America first, they broke apart the families of African Americans. And now 401 years later, people are like, well, look at the black people. They're not together. The fathers are not in the home, and the mothers are this and that, and the children are this and that. But look at how the black family has been torn apart since Africa, since the transatlantic slave trade, like since Jim Crow, like the black family has been targeted. And you wonder why it's taking so long for us to get it together. We're doing pretty good, because I mean, like, I'm in college, people are graduated college, people went into the NFL, NBA, people are doing great things, they become lawyers, judges, people are doing great things, they become politicians, and they're newscasters, sportcasters, pastors, people are out there playing athletics, being teachers, being whatever it is. We're doing a great job as black people, and America has allowed us the opportunity to grow, because at once America once stifled us. So we have to be aware of our past. Like I said, he said next time. All right, cool. But yeah, so for centuries this has happened, and we have to admit the truth. The truth will set us free as a country, and our country was built on a bad foundation. Oh my God, it's bad. We talk about the Declaration of Independence and we do all that great stuff. And Alan, you served our country. What do you mean? Right? Well, I'm just saying that, America has been built on blood. And I'm thinking about Cain and Abel. And when God talks about your brother's blood is crying from the earth, I think about the blood of Africans and Indians in America that have spilt on this ground. And I'm like, man, I wonder how loud that cry is right now today. I'm just wondering how loud that cry is. And finally, the birth pains of this country is being yelled and are yelled from the mouths of not only Black people but white people and Asians and Hispanics who stand with us. That's so powerful, and I'm really thankful for everyone who is not of African American descent. I am thankful for your support in what we are doing, because we just want what you have. We want your freedom. We want to be able to walk into the grocery store without being profiled, like, oh, you think I'm going to steal something? Like I've been looked at like that. Like, it's like people follow you in the store and they think you're going to steal something when you're like, I'm a Marine veteran. Like, I don't want to steal your stuff. I got money. I'll buy my gum. I'll buy the whatever it is. Like, I don't want to steal. And I've had that happen to me in Charleston, South Carolina, a lot of times, Somerville, South Carolina, a lot of times. I've had people lock their doors because I was walking in front of their car, in the daytime. So I've let me tell y'all something. I was running one time. And I just want to shed light on what people go through in African American communities, because a lot of people are not aware of that. They're not aware of it. So if you're not aware of it, I just want to tell you, like, there was one day before I went into the Marine Corps, I was jogging, I was getting ready for the Marine Corps, so I was trying to get my run on, and I was out there with my shirt off, had my six-pack flexing, chest nice, everything nice. It don't look like that right now. So I was running, right, and I got to this intersection. It was a lady at the stoplight, and I was running this way. There's a white lady in her car, and I was like, man, she's at the stop sign. She might want to go, so let me just run behind her car, right? I just was like, I was regular jogging, right? Imagine me jogging. I was like, let me run behind her car instead of going in front of her to be, I don't want to be an inconvenience to her. And this is actually the same road where my friend Marquise got hit by a car. So I know that there's cars driving on this road that are just being crazy, right? So I ran behind this lady's car. Here I am. This is her car. Here's me. I'm running behind her car, and I hear the doors lock. And I was like, I just literally stopped running. I stopped running and I look at her and I was like, really? I said that. I was like, really? Like, really? Like, why are you locking your door right now? I'm not trying to rob you. I'm going to jog in the morning, son. Like, what's wrong with you? But yeah, so like that's stuff that I've dealt with, as an African American male, and it was just, a little crazy. So I'm pretty sure there's other stories out there and people going through other things. And like I said, I didn't want to just harp on all of this the whole time and be, oh, Alan's not talking positive and motivation. I am talking positive motivation. I'm telling you to look in the past and to look in the present. And if you look here right now and you look in our past, you can tell where we're going. And I believe that greater days are coming for our country. I do believe that greater days are coming, because if you look at where we came from as African American slavery, and we didn't come from there. Let me say that we did not come from slavery. We were more than slaves before slavery. Do your research. So, before we've come a long way from slavery to, the civil rights movement, to people, the whole Jim Crow movement, all that stuff, like people not wanting blacks to drink from the same fountain as them. Think about how crazy our world was at a time. They didn't want black people to drink from the same water fountain as whites. They didn't want blacks to sit in the same seats as whites. They didn't want blacks to sit in the same rows at church. They wanted the blacks to sit at the top, right? They had the whites sitting at churches. They had the whites sitting at the bottom and the blacks sitting in the nosebleed. So like our country has been weird, and there's governors and senators and officers, police officers, presidents who hated African American people. So if you could imagine like that hierarchy, hating a person of my color, that is scary, because you can't really do anything. And oh man, like I keep going back to Bakari Sellers. This wasn't even about him, but Bakari, you're gonna have to pay me a couple of dollars. But Bakari Sellers wrote this book, right? And I'm reading it. Matter of fact, let me see. I'll read. Let me see something here. I wanted to read something to you guys because it was really moving, because he talked about the Orangeburg massacre. You guys ever heard about that? The Orangeburg massacre? in Orangeburg, it's in South Carolina, where students were from South Carolina State were shot and killed, and some injured. I won't read this man book because I don't want y'all to be like, oh, I'm out here selling this man's words out here. But look, anyway, so he spoke about the massacre in Orangeburg. I'm like, dude, I'm from South Carolina, Somerville, and I didn't even know about that. Like, that is the problem, and that's why I'm saying this right now. Is that, I'm really going to take my time to harp on this. I don't care who doesn't follow the Purpose Pod after today. I really don't care because I'm not all about the. I love when the numbers are high, but I'm not like trying to do anything with these numbers right now. So it's just like, whatever. If you follow me, you follow me. If you don't, you don't. If you don't like me because I'm talking about Black rights, then I'm sorry. You really don't need to be following me. I don't want you to follow me. Okay, cool. All right. So, but if you really have a heart to seek understanding of why the Black community is the way it is, you need to go back to the past. You do. You need to go back to the past. Black people, man, it's important for us to learn our history. Just because you're from the South don't mean you know your history, and that's me right there. Because I went on school field trips. It's so sad. We went to the aquarium. Like, we went to a slave plantation one time, and nobody gave the true story. Nobody gave the legitimate story of what happened. We just knew that slaves were on that plantation. No one in school at Somerville High School or DuBose Middle School or Somerville Elementary School or Flowertown Elementary School, none of those schools harped on Black history. I didn't get it. I don't know who did, but yeah. So that's important for us to move forward as a country. We have to know our history, and knowing our history, like the Confederate flag history, like whatever, our history, helps us shape our future. Like, so if you look back in our past and we take certain things from there, like, okay, we're definitely leaving racism behind in the past. And we did that before, like around the civil rights movement, when people were like, hey, let's, Black rights, Black power, around that time would have been a perfect time for people to say, hey, you know what? Let's leave racism right here. Right here. Let's leave it right here. Let's move on forward to the future. So 2020, we'll have a great time. But no, they didn't do that. So I'm trying to do it now. Let's leave racism right here today on June 16th, 2020 at 7:37. If you're racist, leave your racism there. If you have implicit biases, leave them right here. And don't put them on my page, but leave them on your table at the house. So yeah, that's my spill about all of that. But I'm going to go, and this is 32 minutes right now. So I'm going to go into the next phase, which is purpose. And I'm going to talk about the importance of purpose in our life, because when you don't know your purpose, you can be self-destructive at times. And I say that because when I was going through my PTSD battle, I did not know who I was. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. I didn't know what I was made to do, because in the Marine Corps, what they teach you to do is what you're supposed to do. And that's it. Like, you don't need to be doing nothing else. When you're doing something else outside of what they teach you in the Marine Corps, you're probably going to get in trouble. So, for me, learning who I was, my identity and my purpose, it took some time. And, I hate when people force purpose down people's throat, like, oh, you need to know who you're supposed to be right now. And you're supposed to go out there and be somebody great. Don't live in expectations. Do not live in people's expectations. Please don't. If somebody says, hey, Alan, I'm expecting you to live a great life, I'm not going to live in your expectations, because you know what? I know you didn't. You know why? Because people fail all the time. Don't tell me to be like nobody but Jesus. All right. So, and when I do that, don't get mad when I fail. Okay. And this is all about purpose. So people, if you're failing towards your purpose, and I say failing towards, like Pastor John Doss of Revive Church, he, when we're in Virginia, Pastor Doss told me one time, he was like, Alan, I was really struggling at this. I was struggling so hard at this time. Like, when they say backsliding, I was moonwalking backsliding. I was getting it with style too. So, but yeah, I was super I was about to say black sliding. That's a new thing, backsliding. And so Pastor Doss said to me, he's like, Alan, fall forward that way, right? So I was falling forward away from him, right? And for this situation, he was like, picture me as being Jesus, or picture me as being Jesus, and you falling that way, right? So I fell that way away from him, and I would fall on the ground literally and pick myself back up, walk forward, fall again, pick myself back up. And he was like, all right, look up and look towards me. I looked up and I looked towards him, and he was over there and I was over here, right? And he was like, all right, now fall towards me. So I did that. I fell, literally got up, fell, literally got up, and I was right there back towards him, right? And he was like, so what's the difference? You fell, right? So I fell, and when we say fell, fall, all that stuff, it's like you take a step back, as a believer, as a Christian, it's like you fell from grace, you fell from, because you sinned, you did something that you weren't supposed to be doing. And, so that's the falling thing. So when I say fall, that's what so literally that fall was like, yo, I fell like 100 and something times. I'm over here falling and falling and falling. And he says, the reason why you're so close to me is because you fell towards me instead of falling away from me. So when you're on the pursuit of your purpose, recognize your location and where God is at that moment in time in your life. Recognize if you've fallen away from him, and recognize if you're falling towards him, because you will fall. Walking is just like stopping yourself from falling, right? So we will fall in our lifetime. We will make mistakes in our lifetime, but make sure you make those mistakes towards God. And I say that exactly, Auntie Shirley, exactly. I got back up. And that's the most important thing, and when we're out here pursuing our purpose, and when you're doing it with God, when you fall, get back up, like Auntie Shirley said, but then make sure that you fall towards God. Make sure that you fall towards God, because God understands what you're going through. And a lot of people will have you think that it's a mystery, that a lot of people will have you think that God doesn't get you, that God doesn't understand you, and he does. God understood me when I was depressed, going through PTSD. God understood me when I had the pills laid on my bed, trying to figure out which ones and how many I was going to take. God understood me when I had the gun in my mouth. God understood me when I wanted to blow my brains out. God understood me when I wanted to crash my car into the rail or crash my car into another car. God understood me when I barely had enough energy to make it in my day. God understood me when I was depressed beyond measures. God understood me when I was in my home crying by myself. God understood me when I was going through my anxiety attacks, and I was, fortifying my home in a way. I would search my home with a gun, and I would always feel like someone was after me. God understood me then. So wherever you are in your walk, wherever you are in your life, understand that God understands you. God understands your purpose. God understands what you are for, what your purpose is for. God understands you because he created you. He designed you with purpose and for a purpose. So outside of the things I spoke of earlier, with the movement that's happening, Black Lives Matter, now we're on purpose, on the topic of purpose, understand that God understands you. Even if you don't believe in who God is, he understands you. It's not like you're complex and God's like, oh my God, I don't understand why he doesn't believe in me. God understands you, but you have to understand God. And that's the thing. You have to, the awesome thing about God, and I think Michael Green said this was pretty dope. Shout out to Michael Green, Crystallized Reformation. Go follow him on YouTube. Crystallized Reformation. Michael Green said, he was talking about how God knows us. He knows like our mistakes. He knows what mistakes we're going to make and all of that good stuff, right? God knows all of it. It's not a mystery to God on our life and how our life unfolds. God is the master writer. He is the architect of our lives, the architect of our souls, the architect of the universe. God is God alone, right? And the only reason why I can say that boldly and without people, I don't care if people yell at me and be like, you're lying, God isn't real, or God is this and God is that. I understand, because I was you. I am you. I am you, right? I understand. I go through the daily battles as well. Being someone who's heard the voice of God maybe 4 times in my life. I've heard the voice of God 4 times in my life, I believe. And I may be undercutting it because he talks to me a lot. But like literally the audible voice of God. When I say the audible voice of God, my podcast it's a faith-based podcast, but I don't, specifically always go the faith route, because I want to reach people from different platforms and different places and allow my life to be something that they take from. And if they want to take my faith, they take my faith. I don't want to sell my faith or push my faith at anyone, but I'm just expressing my story. Okay, people. So please don't run away or walk away because I'm expressing myself about God. Okay. If you don't agree with me, just listen to me. It's cool. Okay. You have to grow some. In order to grow, you have to learn how to listen. Right. So I just know that God spoke to me in Afghanistan when I was standing next to the IED. God said, look by your foot. Literally. I'm like looking at my rifle. God says, I'm looking down because a kid came out while we were walking down this rat trail is like a little small road alleyway, right? This kid comes out and he's like, he's talking in his Dari language, and the interpreter says, the Taliban just put an IED in the road. I'm like, Lord, it's about to go down. I'm literally scared. Wasn't like super Rambo out there. I was like scared. I was scared. I was like, yo, I'm ready to go back. Let's go back. They were like, no, we gotta go forward, right? I wanna go back. Let's go back to the base. They were like, let's go forward, right? So I'm walking, and I'm telling you this because a lot of people haven't been in a place where they needed God. Like they needed God. As Americans, we're barely in a place where we need God. Only in hurricanes and tornadoes and maybe police brutalities where we're like, God, I need you. Where you at? You know? But other than that, like we're surviving. People got food to eat, or you got whatever else the government help you out, whatever it is. But like we don't know what it's like to need God, really, right? Until we're in that dire situation in America. So here I am in another country, a young boy, young man who is a Christian, but I wasn't practicing my faith. I was a young Christian rapper back in the day. I would rap about God, Jesus, I need you, like a motherless child, born innocent and still living my life. Wow, tears drip from my face as I approach another day. It's hard to be strong when things barely go my way. So hold my hands, Lord, set my daily walk. Let your angels soar above me freely like a hawk. I want your love to flow through me like a fountain. Help me stack your people like the highest mountain. My life is crumbling as the road is twisting, shifting, turning. Lord, I hope you're listening as my days slowly fall apart. Yet I by heart try to follow your path, but I can't move from start. It's like the whole world is trying to take me down in the round, but I never ever reach the ground. All right, so yeah, that was a little rap joint that I used to do. But I used to be a gospel rapper back in the day when I was a little young man, you know what I'm saying? So I was connected with God. I got baptized, but here I am in Afghanistan, and I believe I was that 2010? That's 10 years ago. I was 21. I'm 31. Yeah, I'm about 22. So I'm in Afghanistan, something like that. I can't do math right now. But anyway, so I'm in Afghanistan, and I'm standing in this intersection, looking down my rifle, and looking down my scope, my rifle scope, my ACOG, right? And God says, "Look by your foot." So I look by my right foot, and there's this haystack right there by my foot. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I said some words right there. I was like, oh, beep, 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 right? And and I don't know what Emmy decided to lift this haystack up. I got a whole lot of material. Let me show y'all what it looked like. Imagine a haystack. People who are listening to the audio version, I'm sorry. But yeah, there was a haystack. I lifted the haystack up. Like I said, it was about probably like a foot tall, 2 feet tall, about the size of a propane tank. You know why? Because a propane tank was under the haystack. And the propane tank had a cell phone strapped on top of it with some wires and some batteries, 12-volt batteries. So I'm here standing in Afghanistan, hearing something tell me, look by your foot. And that's something I believe is the Holy Spirit, which we can get into a whole conversation about the Holy Spirit. But I'm gonna just tell you, you Google the Holy Spirit, okay? But I believe God spoke through the Holy Spirit to me and said, look by your foot. And I looked by my foot, and there was a bomb right there by my foot. Fast forward, I get into the gun shooting and the RPG explosion and just the scare, the fear, all of that stuff, and I wasn't like, oh my God, I need to pursue God right now. It wasn't going through my mind. I was like, oh my God, thank you, God, for speaking to me. But yeah, life continues. And I wasn't necessarily thinking about purpose. I wasn't worried about what my purpose was, because I was in the Marine Corps. And when you're in the Marine Corps, you don't need purpose. They'll give you purpose. So, the other time I heard God speak was when I was about to commit suicide, and I had the gun in my mouth, and I had just laid all my pills on the bed, and I was trying to figure out which pills I was going to take. And I was trying to figure out if I had the guts to shoot myself. I was like, dude, this is crazy, but you got to do it because no one can stop you, and no one really cares. That's what I said to myself. You start lying to yourself when you go through depression. People love me. I know people love me. My parents love me. I know that. My siblings love me. I know that. My friends love me. I know that. But when you're in depression, when you're going through depression, you literally think, oh, no one loves me, right? No one cares for me. No one cares that I'm alive. So here I am wrestling with something that I never dreamed of wrestling with. I'm wrestling with suicide. And like I said, I was not seeking my purpose. I haven't been seeking my purpose until maybe the past couple of years, like maybe the past 2 years, maybe 3 years. You know, we can get into my life on another episode, but I wasn't seeking for purpose. But at this moment in time, I'm here with this gun in my mouth, and God speaks to me, and He says, "Who are you?" And there's a whole lot to that story, but I'll cut it to this. God says, "Who are you to take your own life?" And this is what I hear. And it's not like somebody like said it to how you're listening to me right now. You ever thought to yourself, and like inside of your mind, you hear your voice talking to yourself, like, "Alan, what are you doing? Alan, what are you gonna do?" Like you have that voice right there, right? So what happened was, it was almost like another voice came in that wasn't my voice, and that's how I know it was God, because it wasn't my voice at all. And He says, "Who are you to take your own life when I brought you from the land of your enemies?" And that right there broke me. I cried on that floor that night. I cried with that gun beside me. It was loaded. I was ready, but I cried. I cried and I cried and I fell asleep. And the next day I pawned my gun. So I'm saying all of that to say this, people, is that, while there's so much going on in this world, that people are battling with depression. I had a good friend from my childhood call me earlier, and he was wrestling with depression, and he was just feeling suicidal. He had these thoughts, and he's been battling a lot of stuff. And I sat there and I was trying to figure out, what should I say right now? What could I say to help this man get through this situation? And I don't know. Some people be like, "Why didn't you just pray for him?" I don't even know why I didn't just pray for him right then and there, because this guy, he's actually is taking time. And if you're listening, bro, I'm not dropping names, so I'm allowed to talk about it. So, but I I believe that there's so much greatness inside of him that I see in a lot of other people who are wrestling with depression and suicide. And for me to sit there, we talked on the phone for an hour or so, and I just went back and forth, and talked to him, and just having a good time chatting and just trying to figure out what next steps to take and stuff like that. So, and I want him to live out his purpose, and that's the reason why I started the Purpose Pod. I'm no professional speaker. I'm no professional podcaster or any of that. I've been doing this since March 21st on here, but I've been on Facebook Live all the time, just rambling, talking, expressing myself. And I give you guys the authentic side of me. Like, I'm giving you the real me. Like, when you come on here and I'm talking about PTSD, I'm talking about depression, I'm talking about the movement of equality, I'm talking about, PTSD, all that, all the stuff that I talk about, is very dear to my heart. And I'm not just sitting here trying to waste your time, talking about different things, because, you could go outside and do that. You could go outside and have a conversation with friends and waste your time. A lot of people can't even sit through this whole talk because, of things happening. And I hope you guys come back later to listen to this, because we need to challenge our mindset. We need to challenge our ideology. We need to challenge who we are. We need to challenge our perception of on life, because I was one of those people who were like, "Oh, you thought about suicide? You're weak." I used to think like that, until it was me who was driving home from work, wondering if I should wreck my car. Until it was me uh, thinking that someone was always after me, so I'm searching my house with a gun. It was until it was me that was with a gun in my mouth. Until it was me trying to figure out that, if I should take these pills and take this alcohol. It was, so like I had to. I feel like God has humbled me in my lifetime, to where I've been around racist people. I've been around Black people who don't like white people or any other people. I've been around some Asian people who don't like Black people. I've been around some Hispanic people who don't like Black people too. Like, I've been around all kind of people in my life. And surprisingly enough, I've had friends who did not like my race of people. They just like me. And I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm a token Black guy." But so yeah, like I don't have any ill will or any ill thoughts towards anybody of a different race or ethnicity, or even people of my color, my complexion, or even darker, whatever it is. Like, I love God's people, and it is because of and this is a big part about purpose. Okay, it is because of the process that I've been through, that I know what my purpose is, right? So let me say that again. So the process that something goes through has an intent. There's an intent behind the process, right? So when you think about the reason why a pen is created, it's created for purpose. So no one says, oh, we don't need anything to write with, so let's create a pen and let's not use it, right? No one says that. They say, oh, we need a way to record history, or to write down our thoughts, without writing into stones, like Moses. We need something else, right? So we created this pen, and then they created the grips, and they created, this part, the clip on your pocket, so like there's an intent behind the process. There's an intent behind the process. So when you think about a human, a person of any color, when you think about why they were created, the purpose behind why they were created, you have to look at the intent on the intent on the process, or the process of the intent, why it was created. So like the person intends to create a person like Alan because of what? Oh, Alan, let's take this process that you've been through of, some addictions. Let's take this process of porn addictions. I was talking to my wife about porn addictions earlier. I was like, man, I was wrestling. I was struggling, because of how, as a kid, what you bring into your mind as a kid, you wrestle with as an adult. We don't understand that those things are really affect, what you listen to and what you watch when you're younger really affects you as an adult. So I was listening and watching some crazy stuff, right? But I was talking to my wife about that. It's like you have to overcome, your process. You have to overcome your process. You can't allow your process to swallow you whole. When I was going through addictions, when I was going through my depression, when I was going through my suicidal thoughts and my anxiety and anger problems, like when I was going through all of that, there was an intent behind it. There was a reason why God preserved my life. There was a reason why, because of the call on my life. And it's not just the call on your life, it's your response. It's your willingness to answer. And since God understands that, some people will answer and some people will not. God is the master of time, and God understands who he needs right now and who he can bring on home. And we don't understand those things. We ask things like, why would you allow these people to die, God? Why would you allow these people to die? They were not done with their life yet. We feel like we know everything, and we feel like God owes us an answer for everything. And I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I'm like, God, why? Why did Marquise have to die? Why did my grandma have to die? Why did my grandfather have to die? Why did so-and-so have to die? And I ask God these questions, but I also understand the power of God. I understand the process that God is taking the world through. I mean, I understand it to a certain extent because of my own life. The way that God can use somebody like me to speak to an atheist person, to speak to a Muslim person and to share love, to speak to a Christian person, brother, someone who practices Buddhism, whatever it is. Like I said, I've encountered people from all walks of life, and my heart is so big that I can bring them in and show them the process that I've been through. Like, hey man, like, look, I was addicted to this. I used to do this. I used to do that. Like, I still do this. I still do that. I wrestle with this. I wrestle with that. It's a process. Do not end your life because of the process. And that's my word for you guys. While you're going out there seeking your purpose, while you're going out there finding out who you are, do not write yourself off throughout this process. You have value. You are valuable, and you have a purpose in this world. So don't give up. Don't give in because people hate you because of the color of your skin. Don't feel like you're a lesser of someone because of the color of your skin, no matter if you're white or black. Don't feel like you're under people. We are all on the same ground. I don't care if it's Obama or Trump or anybody else. We are all on the same ground because we are all human beings. At the end of the day, we are all God's creation. So we all stand on equal ground. I don't care what position you got, how much money you got, or whatever it is. That's great. That is great. But I'll tell you this, people with money still commit suicide. People with money still go through depression. People with money still have anxiety. People with money still have PTSD. So don't let the tangible things get you off track, on the road to your purpose. Don't allow the I don't have to dictate your decisions in your life. Don't take, oh, well, I always grew up this way. Everybody in my family did this, so I'm going to do this. Don't put yourself under those laws. You know, follow your purpose. Like, what is your purpose? What are you here for? Why are you here? I promise you, if you look for your purpose, look in God. And I'm not trying to be religious or anything, but look in God, seek God, seek God, seek God, seek God, please, man. Because I can tell you guys a whole lot of stuff that got me to where I am, right? But my honest truth is I sought God in my imperfections. And it was even in my imperfections, God still loved me. He allowed me to grow through my imperfections. So I battle as a believer, as a man, at times when God doesn't come through with his promises, when God delays, or God allows someone to die, or God, I wrestle like everyone else does, but I can't go anywhere because God has done so much in my life. He's done it. He's brought me out of the land of my enemy. He's brought me out of the land of depression. He's brought me out of the land of suicidal thoughts. He's brought me out of the land of addiction. So he's brought me into the land of knowing who I am. I know who I am, and I will never sell my soul to anybody. I promise you, I will never sell my soul to anyone because I know who I am. So I've had a lot of offers. I had people offer me certain things, but I know who I am. So I say no. When you know who you are, you know what purpose you're for, you turn those other things away because they're not your purpose. I keep opening things up, but when people keep coming to you about who they say you are, make sure you go to God about who he says you are, because people will always try to tell you who they say you are, but God will show you who he says you are. So I know it sounds crazy, Alan. I can't even see God. How are you telling me to trust God about my purpose? Well, I'm telling you to lean out on your own understanding, and to walk towards God in your purpose. So yeah, I know that was probably like not what people like to hear. People don't like hearing about God. I get it, but that was for somebody because I wasn't planning on talking about that. And if that's you and you're going through the depressed state, man, this purpose pod is for you. I don't care about everybody else who's having a successful. I mean, I care about them, but when I say I don't care, I mean like those people who come and go will come and go. But those of you who are really, you're fighting for your life out there, like that's what God called me for. Like you guys who are, you're doing great already. You're not really worried about your purpose. The purpose pod probably isn't for you. But there are people out there who are really fighting to live out their purpose. There are people who are at a loss for words of who they are. They don't know who they are. I know because I used to stand in front of the mirror and say, who are you? Who are you? Right? So there are people out there who don't know who they are, and they need people like you and me to help expose them to who they are, to not show them who they are, but to expose them to who they are and to who God has called them to be. So yeah, man, this is the Purpose Pod. I hope you guys enjoy this because I went on and I talked about, the whole protesting. I talked about how Black Lives Matter and how, we're being treated in this country. I talked about learning your history and going back in order to learn your history, reading those books and to know your present, and then to also be aware of who you are, and to not allow people to give you an identity, to not allow depression to take you down. Don't let depression keep you out of your purpose and your destiny, because there's an end goal for your life. There is an end goal for your life. And I pray that, that you stay safe out there and that you don't allow people to dictate your future, that you walk in your purpose and your calling in life. And your calling is what you're inclined, like you could feel an inclination towards that calling. It's like, man, I've always felt this burning desire for children, or I've always felt this burning desire for single mothers, or men in prison. I've always, like, your purpose is out there and it's inside of you. Your purpose is inside of you. So look inside of you, see who you are, see what you love to do, see what things bring you joy, what makes you happy, what things upset you, what don't you like seeing happen. Like, do you hate seeing injustice in this country? Well, maybe your purpose is around that. So and I'm going to give you guys homework this last couple of seconds. My homework for you guys is for you to write out the things that you're passionate about. Write those things out. Just write them out. Just write them out. I am passionate about football, basketball, volleyball, soccer. I'm passionate about being a lawyer. I'm passionate about the law. I'm passionate about rights, people, immigration. I'm passionate about whatever it is that you're passionate about. Write those things down, right? So that's first step. Write those things down. And then the second step is you want to attach those things to other things, right? Because it's a web. You got to create a web that connects everything back. I want you to put your name at the top, okay? I'm gonna show y'all what it looks like. How about that? Let's do it real quick. Oh, look at this. This wasn't even what I was going to do. Anyway, so Alan, and then I am passionate. I'm doing this real quick for the people on the online. I'm passionate about veterans, youth, suicide, mental health. And like when I say mental health, I'm not talking about like going deep into it. I probably should, but I just know like I'm not an expert. I only know because I know. I only know because of what I've been through. So like, and then I got dancing, dancing, eating. I like eating. Yeah. So anyway, so look. Thank you, Miss McDavid. I appreciate you. You're so sweet. Oh, I'm proud of you, Alan. Thank you so much. I'm glad you came on here. I wish you would get on. Oh, we need to have it. We need to chop it up. We go back, way back, like wave caps. I mean, you know, I don't have waves and all, but we go back. Thank you so much. But so look, you have like Alan, veterans, youth, suicide, mental health, dancing, eating, right? So you find these things that you're passionate about and connect them to you, and in the midst of all of that, you'll find your purpose. I promise you, you'll find your purpose. And like I said, the purpose is the reason why you were created, why you were born, what you're here for. You know, we're not just here to get money and get cars and clothes and all of that good stuff. We're not just here for that. Those are just the additional things. Those are the add-ons, you know, but we're here to live out a purpose that serves others. So you know what happens? Selfish people never make it in this world because they don't care about other people. You know that? So yeah, selfish people aren't worried about, you know, when selfish people find their purpose usually has to do with how can I make money off of people, you know, and that's what they do. So don't wrestle with who you are. Write these things down. Write down the things that you're interested in and what you feel passionate about. I'm talking about those things that burn a fire in your heart. Write those things down and come back and hit me up. If you did that homework, message me and we can talk after that. If you want to talk about your purpose, do that homework. Write down the things that you're passionate about and hit me up. Okay. So I love you guys. I hope that you live a purposeful life. Don't allow anyone to take you from your purpose, to remove you from your purpose or your destiny. And if you fail, get up, fight, keep fighting, keep fighting. And I'm not talking about a physical fight. I'm talking about the mental fight. Keep fighting in your mind, winning the fight in your mind. Keep fighting in your heart, winning the fight within your heart, because it's those places right there that hinder us from going forward and growing forward. This is the Purpose Pod for you and you and you and you. Please make sure you guys share every Tuesday at 6 o'clock mainly. But if I have to make adjustments, I will let you guys know. But from now on, it's Tuesdays, 6 o'clock p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. I love you guys. If you have any input or advice or anything you want to share with me, please message me. I am not mean. I love you guys. Share this